Valdez, kung masasabi ko, Mr. Valdez, ano po ang plano mo? Mr. Valdez! Mr. Valdez, kung ikaw ang mananalo bilang presidente, ipagpapatuloy mo ba ang pagpapatayo ng mga nuclear power plant sa bansa?
Ipinapangako ko na ang mga proyektong nasimulan ng aking ama ay bubuhayin ko muli sa aking termino.
Pero hindi po ba maraming masamang epekto ang naidudulot ng nuclear power plants?
Mr. Valdez, ano po bang alam niyo tungkol sa nuclear energy na sa tingin niyo ay nagpapatunay na mas mainam ito kumpara sa ibang uri ng enerhiya?
Ang masasabi ko lang ay ang ating pagkakaisa ang siyang magpapaunlad sa ating bansa.
Mr. Valdez, kung masasabi ko, Mr. Valdez, ano po ang plano mo? Mr. Valdez!
Mr. Valdez! Mr. Valdez!
Mr. President, Mr. President, Mr. President.
Nakita mo na ba itong resulta ng poll? Ano? Ba't nagkakaganito? Di ba nila kung paano ako nagpapakahirap sa mga international trips? Tapos pagkatapos ganyan kakawag satisfaction rate ang makukuha ko?
Mr. President, hindi ang ilang international trips ang hinihingi ng taong bayan mula sa iyo. Patuloy na tumataas ang presyo ng mga bilihin at nalulugi ang sektor ng ating agrikultura. Marami na ding nagdedemanda ng dagdag sweldo. Marami tayong binitawang mga pangako ng eleksyon at mas makabubuti kung mag-focus muna tayo sa pagtupad sa mga yon.
Hindi ang gagawin priority natin yun. Hiram ko lang naman lahat yun kay Papa.
Pero Mr. President,
Alam ko na, yung nuclear power plant, Dad loved them so much. Let's restore them so that the world will see how we are becoming progressive. For sure, that would skyrocket my satisfaction rate.
it does seem promising, Mr. President.
Ano bang hinihintay mo? Go find someone and make this into reality.
Yes, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'd like to introduce Dr. Veroza and Dr. Hermosa, nuclear physicists from National Physics Institute.
It is an honor, Mr. President.
Finally, so I'm pretty sure you already know why I sent you here.
Actually we don't, Mr. President. We were only told that this meeting is urgent.
That is true. How may we help you, Your Excellency?
Plano kong buhayin muli ang nuclear power plants ng bansa. And I want you to make this happen.
I'm sorry to say this, Mr. President, pero nuclear energy is relatively expensive. It is considered as the most expensive form of electricity available, and in our current economic state, we cannot afford that.
That may be true, pero I believe that the best way to invest in such a sustainable energy source is by starting now.
Dr. Bereza, the President is suggesting the reconstruction of the power plants. That takes 5 to 6 years on average to complete, and by then his term would have ended. And there lies the possibility of funds being cut the moment a new
Dr.
administration.
Hermosa, you know little about politics. When I spearhead the reconstruction of the power plants, the people would treat it as my lasting legacy to the country. That feat will go down in history, and I mean, we will forever be remembered as the people who made nuclear energy dito sa Pilipinas. Isn't that exciting?
Surely you already know how we will be able to supply its fuel.
Anong fuel? Hindi ba heat lang ang nagpapatakbo dyan?
Allow us to explain, Mr. President. Nuclear energy is the energy released from the nucleus of an atom during a nuclear reaction. This occurs when the nucleus of an atom is either split or fused together.
The use of nuclear energy dates back to the discovery of radioactivity in the late 19th century. You see, substances that are considered radioactive are those composed of unstable elements. As these elements actively form into lighter or heavier elements, they give off energy which then manifests as heat.
There are two main types of nuclear reaction, namely nuclear fission and nuclear fusion. In nuclear fission, the nucleus of an atom is split into two smaller nuclei, causing a release of a large amount of energy. Nuclear fusion, on the other hand, is the process of combining two atomic nuclei into a single nucleus, which also results in a release of a large amount of energy.
In the early 20th century, scientists began to understand the potential of nuclear energy as a source of power. This led to the development of the first nuclear weapons during World War II in the late 1930s.
After the shock and horror brought by the war and the use of the atomic bomb, many countries began to explore the potential of nuclear energy for peaceful purposes, such as generating electricity.
Nuclear energy quickly became an important source of electricity in many countries, as it was seen as a clean and reliable source of energy that could help reduce dependence on fossil fuels.
In 1976, the Philippine government built the Bataan nuclear power plant, specifically for generating electricity and as a response to the oil crisis. It was completed in 1984, but it never became operational due to concerns about safety, corruption allegations, and public opposition.
I remember that period. It was a dark time for our family. Anyway, remind me again how these nuclear reactors work?
Sure, Mr. President. Nuclear reactors are the core components of a nuclear power plant. They can control nuclear fission, which we've discussed earlier, to create electricity. And they often use uranium pellets as fuel to produce this fission.
Basically, the intense pressure in the reactors causes the uranium atoms to break apart. As they split, the atoms release tiny particles known as fission products. Other uranium atoms split due to these fission products, which sets off a chain reaction. This chain reaction produces heat, which then warms the cooling agent in the reactor.
Due to nuclear fission, the cooling agent heats up and creates steam. The steam then turns turbines, and the turbines drive engines or generators that produce electricity. The unused steam is condensed back to water, and the cycle repeats.
I see. Uranium, nuclear fission, heat, steam, then electricity. Disregarding the cost, mukhang simple lang naman pala ang proseso, no?
I'm afraid you're oversimplifying it, Mr. President. There's a reason why nuclear power faces strong opposition and still isn't widely used. In fact, several countries have already phased out their nuclear power plants while others significantly reduced theirs.
Excuse me, Dr. Hermosa, but while there is some truth to that, I think you failed to mention some important things. For one, support for nuclear power has actually been increasing, especially due to the global energy crisis sparked by the war in Ukraine. More importantly, about 10% of the world's electricity today comes from nuclear energy, and about 60 power reactors are currently being constructed in 15 countries, notably China, India, and Russia.
Teka, ano ba talaga? Is there strong opposition or increased support? More constructions or more phase out?
In reality, the current state of the nuclear energy globally is a mix of progress and stagnation. Some countries are moving forward with nuclear energy while others are moving away from it.
It's true, Mr. President, but perhaps you'd like to hear about the possible pros and cons of this project? We can discuss how it can bring opportunities, but also potential risks. I think this will help you make an informed decision about the matter.
Alright, that sounds good.
Then allow me to go first. Nuclear energy has several advantages that make it a viable option for our future energy needs. Firstly, since nuclear power plants don't produce carbon, it provides a significant reduction in greenhouse gas emissions compared to fossil fuels, helping combat climate change.
Hold on a moment, Dr. Bereza. While it's true that nuclear energy has lower emissions, we can't ignore the potential risk it poses. The accidents at Three Mile Island, Chernobyl, and Fukushima serve as reminders of the catastrophic consequences that can occur.
Fair point, Dr. Hermosa. However, advancements in nuclear technology have made reactors much safer since those incidents. The use of passive cooling systems, advanced materials, and improved regulations have greatly minimized the chances of accidents.
But what about the issue of nuclear waste? The disposal and long-term storage of radioactive materials remain a significant concern.
I agree that nuclear waste management is a challenge. However, here in the Philippines, we have the technology to drill deep boreholes, which can be used to dispose of high-level radioactive waste adequately and safely.
But we should also explore alternative renewable energy sources that are becoming more cost-effective, such as solar and wind power. Investing in these technologies can create jobs and foster sustainable development.
I agree that renewables have their place, but nuclear energy offers a consistent and reliable source of power. capable of meeting our energy demands even during periods of low sunlight or wind.
Sige, tama na. Both of you have presented valid points. Mas layo lang ginugulo ang isip ko. Di na tuloy ako makapag-desisyon ngayon.
Excuse me, Mr. President, if I may interject. The decision you're about to make is indeed challenging and it shouldn't be taken lightly. However, tulad po ng sinabi ko kanina, it's worth considering that there are other pressing issues demanding our attention and our resources. While the energy debate is important, crucial matters such as healthcare reform, national security, and economic recovery require immediate focus. It may be prudent to prioritize these pressing issues before tackling something as complex as the energy transition.
Naintindihan ko. Perhaps, I should redirect my attention to those pressing matters first.
Mr. President, I believe that considering the long-term implications of our energy crisis is crucial. However, I understand the need to address immediate concerns as well.
I agree, Mr. President. It's essential to prioritize and allocate resources effectively to address the pressing issues facing our nation.
Thank you all for your insights. I will take my Secretary's advice and focus on the immediate challenges at hand. We will revisit the energy transition when the time is right, armed with more information and a comprehensive plan.